increasing climate change risks and the economic slowdown in China could derail growth in Africa. The WEF has published its 2016 risk report in London ahead of its annual meeting of world leaders in Davos later this month.
Our UK correspondent Dan Whitehead reports.
Next week, world leaders will gather in Davos to discuss challenges facing the global economy. But there's a frosty outlook. Economists fear 2016 could be a year of further financial collapse, with emerging economies under threat from instability in economic powerhouses. As a precursor to Davos, the World Economic Forum has published its 2016 Global Risks Report, analysing the main threats. A failure of climate change mitigation and large-scale involuntary migration top the risk list in terms of impact and likelihood, respectively. For Africa, a lack of action on climate change could be a major threat.
Many of the climate-related risks also could derail growth in Africa. Also, many of the security risks. Africa is one of the regions with the highest refugee flows across countries as well. There's a huge need to stabilize the situation from that end.
Economic risk in Africa, maybe particularly in South Africa, but more broadly coming from the China slowdown and the drop in energy prices and commodity prices more generally, and the fact that impact on Africa will only serve to amplify some of the risks that Margareta mentioned in terms of unemployment and social instability. So really quite a challenging context.
2015 saw major issues for South Africa's economy, with drought, low commodity prices and chaos in the country's finance ministry. Analysts say stability in South Africa must be secured.
South Africa is a growth engine of the continent, so it's very important for the country to do well, and the drop in commodity prices could jeopardize economic growth in South Africa. It will be important to diversify the economy.
A large number of risks mentioned in this year's report directly affect South Africa, and many will be looking to President Zuma for signs of stability during 2016 at the World Economic Forum in Davos, not only for South Africa's sake, but for the wider continent. Dan Whitehead, SABC News, London.